What's up, everybody? Welcome to the ChimiComicsCast. I'm your host with the most, Tanner, Papa, Sita, Curb, alongside the coolest dude in comics books.
In comics books?
In comics books. You know what? I've messed up the intro for the past 3 episodes. I want y'all to know that. I've noticed it every time I've edited it.
That one sounded painful, though.
Yeah, you sounded like the SpongeBob intro. Oh!
I'm trying to have fun with it. So, welcome to the ChimiComicsCast. I'm your host. Like I said, I'm your host, Tanner Kirby, alongside the coolest guys in comic books. To my left, the man who's never wrong, Wyatt.
I'm just happy to be here.
All right. And to my right, Mr. Chimmy Comics himself, Riley freaking Davis.
Freaking hello.
So, as I live and breathe, welcome back to the ChimiComicsCast. Like I said, every show we start out with a little thing I like to call. Oh, by the way, this is the first show of the new year.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Yay!
Merry 2020, everyone.
2020. How you doing? And I would like to start out this ChimiComicsCast with the first issue of business, which is always, what have we read for the month? Riley.
Okay. Well, my read pile is very small.
It's all on his phone.
This is a first.
Well, first of all, hand me that book. Wyatt and I reviewed Star Wars The Old Republic Revan.
It was pretty good.
It was pretty good. I gave it a 10.
Yeah.
You can see our review.
Oh, damn.
High
praise.
Riley really liked it.
It-
I gave it
I
like a
loved
9
it.
or an
Nice.
8.5 because
It
it didn't
does-
have as much military stuff.
If you're not familiar with Revan, or if you are,
See, you weren't, right?
no, not
You
at
weren't
all.
familiar with him at all.
Not at all.
See, I knew about
I know.
Revan. He called him Ravon.
Yeah,
So-
I did. Sounds cooler.
I don't want to say half the book. Almost half the book takes place in between the first 2 games.
Yep.
And then the other half takes place after the second game. But it does a great job of explaining like what happened in those games, and like why the second game wasn't about Revan, and where he was during all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it also goes into depth on a character named Lord Scourge. So,
Good.
about half
Riley's
this book,
man crush.
yeah, about half this book was about him, and it's really cool to see a Sith who's interested in the light side for a change. You don't really see that very often, so that's why I liked it so much. And the Revan stuff was really cool too. So, anything you want to say about it?
No, you pretty much covered it.
I have a question. Does Karth make an appearance?
Who's that?
I guess that's
Is that one of Revan's companions?
Yes.
Which the only companions
It's Bastila, right?
No,
The
Bastila.
Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian.
Okay.
And T3.
Mm-hmm.
They mentioned HK, and they mentioned the Wookiee and Twilight Girl, but Revan didn't want to take them away from their business.
Yeah, makes sense.
So,
I wish Karth had an appearance. I liked Karth.
who was Karth?
He was like the scoundrel of the group.
Oh, I see.
If you're a girl character in the first KOTOR game, that's your like romance person. Karth.
Did you romance Karth as a girl in KOTOR?
No, I was a Bastila man all the way.
All right. Yeah.
Just like
Understand?
real Revan.
Yeah.
They know my likies.
So I also read. Well, I'm not done with it yet, but I'm reading the. It's called Halo: The Flood. So it's about like the first Halo game.
It's a
pretty much,
novelization of the
novel.
first Halo.
Y'all can't tell me this thing ain't about angels in 1676.
It isn't.
Well, Noah had a flood.
The flood wasn't made out of biomass and a parasitic life form.
Yes, it was.
I've been reading the Bible all wrong.
Oh jeez. Okay. But yeah, it's pretty good. I'm only about like 150 pages in, I guess. But it's picking up for me.
It's one of my favorite books because this has a lot of like military action in it, and a lot of like battles and stuff that they go over from the tactical view, which I really like.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, is that all you got, Riley?
The guy who wrote Fall of Reach, Does he write the next book?
Yes, he writes a trilogy. They got William C. Dietz is the one who wrote the novelization of the first game. Eric Ray writes Operation First Strike and Ghost of Onyx, which is actually what I read.
I like this guy. I just kind of miss the structure of the first guy because like the chapters are so much smaller.
Yeah, in Follow Reach there was what, like 30 or so chapters?
Yeah, there's a lot of chapters.
There's a lot of chapters.
This
and
one
it's
there's
just really
12.
structured. Yeah, there's only 12.
And it's
this
even
one,
longer.
And it's a longer book, so...
it
does have breaks. Like in between the chapter, but
because you're following like 4 different storylines
Yeah.
that converge sometimes. But other than that, I just read my monthly comics.
What are you reading monthly wise, Riley?
Well, I'm going to tell you, Tanner.
I'm interested.
Here we go. So, did I ever tell you guys about that?
Tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Lost.
Yeah, about that
It's not a story the Jedi would tell you.
symbiote Spiderman comic.
Yeah,
you
we
mentioned
talked
it.
about it.
It's by Peter David. I think Greg Land drew it. I'm not sure. But it's basically just some stories that they're writing about when he had the black suit in the 80s.
Correct.
So it's just some fun tales of that time. So this is like a continuation of that, but in this issue, Spider-Man he wakes up and the world is like completely different from what he knew. So now the reason it's different is because the Hobgoblin is now the Sorcerer Supreme. So he's remade reality.
Ooh.
So he's the main villain in this story.
If you recall, the Hobgoblin in the 90s was an important character on Spider-Man the Animated Series. That he was voiced by Mark Hamill.
Makes sense.
So I'm quite the fan of the Hobgoblin. They ruined it in the comics, though, because they kept hinting at who he was and then did a bunch of stupid stuff to make him not as interesting.
Okay. Well, most people would disagree with you because that's one of the most beloved Spider-Man stories ever written.
I don't give a shit about what other people think.
I'm just saying.
I'm right and they're wrong.
No, okay, Tanner. Ignore him.
Yeah.
Go read that stuff.
It's me, the real Green Goblin.
Good gosh.
That was a great episode of Spider-Man the Animated Series.
You wouldn't have had all of that stuff in the animated series if it wasn't for that comic, though.
I know. Remember, the Hobgoblin was in that show before Green Goblin was.
Yeah.
They had to sell them toys, man.
Gotta sell the toys.
They did. They kept wanting the real Green Goblin. They're like, nah, we already made all these Hobgoblin toys. True story.
Let's see what else I read. It's worth talking about. Oh, Doomsday Clock ended.
And?
Finally.
It was a pretty good ending. I was pretty satisfied with that.
That's good.
But we'll review the whole thing later on once you guys have read it. Also read Doctor Doom has been good. Have I told you guys?
Yeah,
about
yes,
that?
you have.
It is very good.
Still good?
Yes.
Still reading Immortal Hulk?
I am still reading Mortal Hulk, but I don't think I read any this month.
Gotcha.
I think I'm still waiting on the next book. Or I think it just came in, actually.
Nice.
So I need to read that soon.
Hulk.
Immortal.
But if you're not reading Doctor Doom, I fully recommend that because, if you like Doctor Doom already, this is it's so Doom. He writes them well, and it's just more of the same. But if you don't know much about Doctor Doom, this one he's not so much evil as he is cunning and clever. And he keeps having these visions of the future of where he's not wearing the mask anymore and he has a wife and kids. So that's an interesting plot thread that they're exploring.
What's so funny, Tanner?
In my head, I was just thinking, this is completely stupid and just off the wall. But I was thinking, you're like, well, Doom is kind of nice in this. He's not as bad. And then in my head, I was thinking of a political ad. They're just why won't this bastard close his Fear Fall in Islands of Adventure then? Is he a good man? Did you know he had Fear Falls? in Islands of Adventure in Florida.
Oh gosh.
Still open.
Still open.
Just saying. Not that great of a guy. He's still using fear.
Ooh, is that a Mandalorian wallpaper?
It is. It's got Baby Yoda on it.
My,
Isn't
that's
that cool?
cute.
For the audio folks, I just showed Wyatt my phone with the Mandalorian on it.
I'll show it to him.
Oh.
Yeah.
For the non-audio folks, there's a picture of the baby.
What if an update from your pharmacy about some embarrassing
Yeah.
medicine has just got in?
Yeah.
Just
Valtrex.
Yeah.
My Valtrex medication just popped up.
Here's your work cream.
Somebody in the comments.
herpes cream.
Somebody in the comments said. Somebody in the comics said, "Isn't that the herpes medication?" And no one replied, "Yes, yes, it is."
That's all I got for this
All
month.
right. Well, I read. Unless Tanner, do you want to go?
Nah, go ahead,
Okay.
Wyatt.
Did you read?
You seem
anything?
to know. I read one thing.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
I
Look at
read.
me. Look at me.
I'm
I'm cool,
excited.
ain't I?
Me and Riley are doing Novel Nook, and we're kind of alternating between this huge pile of Star Wars stuff that Riley got.
Whoa. Look at all them books.
Look at all of them.
Books aplenty.
We're
Books a million.
alternating between this and Halo books, and we're going in order of from the Fall of Reach and up, pretty much. And we've already done Fall of Reach. We did a short story from Halo Evolutions, a very long short story, but it was good. And we did Revan, so now we're moving on. Next episode's going to be Halo the Flood, and I've read Fall of Reach and the Flood and most of these books enough to where I don't need to reread them for this. And I mean, I really didn't need to
Oh,
reread.
hear that, audience? He can't commit.
You read Revan.
I read
It's
Revan.
more than we could say about
I've
you.
read Halo.
Hey, I watched all the
I've
Superman
read Fall
movies
of
and watched
Reach,
them again.
I've read Fall of Reach 8 or 10 times, Tanner.
Who here's watched Superman Returns?
I watched it before.
I've seen it before
Again,
as well.
for this freaking
Again.
Superman review we're never going to finish.
Okay, my plan was to have it, like, film it next week.
Oh, is that the plan?
That was my plan, yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
Okay. Anyway,
Hold him to that,
It's
audience.
to get everyone together
Unsubscribe.
sometime.
Mass unsubscribe him if that doesn't do it happen.
the channel's gone under.
Oh no! Oh no! I'll get it done.
Okay, I really didn't need to reread these two, but I mean, these two are kind of my favorite. Like, I like them better than Fall of Reach and The Flood, and I mean, I kind of just wanted to. So I read Operation First Strike, and Operation First Strike has some wibbly wobbly timey wimey stuff because Riley, you know, slip space, and how there's different. That human slip space technology isn't very precise, and sometimes they have time dilation effects going on, so they'll leave one day and they'll arrive on the same day, or they'll leave one day and arrive a month later.
Yeah.
At the beginning of this book, it's September, and at the end of this book, it's the same day.
Ooh.
And the beginning is an opening. It shows Fred and the other Spartans, because you know in the end of Fall of Reach, Master Chief takes Linda and was it James, I believe, to a separate thing, an orbiting station to delete some nav data, and the rest of the Spartans go down to Reach to defend generators that are powering these huge orbital guns.
Yeah, that's when what's his name just floated off into
Yeah,
space.
like his
right?
thruster
Yeah.
pack got hit and he was thrown out.
That was so sad.
Hmm. He's only missing in action, Riley. Anyway, it opens with Fred, and from his point of view, with the Spartans on the Pelican going to the ground, and they get shot down and they have to jump without any parachute or anything. And they say, aim for the trees, because they're going to grab onto the branches. It reminds me of that scene from The Other Guys. If you
I was
think
about to say,
of what
is
I'm
this the
thinking.
other guy's reference?
Yeah. Aim for the bush.
Aim for them bushes.
So yeah, we get to see what happens there, and then it alternates between their story on Reach and the Master Chief right after Halo 1, Halo Combat Evolved.
Right.
And we get to see him, Sergeant Johnson, and a couple other survivors, how they escape from Alpha Halo, and they steal a Covenant ship, and they then go back to Reach because Master Chief wants to know if any of the other Spartans are still alive. And they find a Forerunner artifact, a crystal, that does some weird slip space stuff and causes timey-wimey stuff. And Halsey shows up. She's there again.
Cool.
Yeah, we see original Blue Team, Kelly, Fred, Linda, John all together again. And it was really, really good.
So this one's not about a game then?
No, this is between Halo 1 and Halo 2. Sergeant Johnson is in it a lot, which is really cool. I love Johnson.
Okay.
And after...
Is he introduced in Halo 2?
No, he was in Halo 1. He was just one of the random Marines.
Okay.
Like, he was named, and he shows up in the opening cutscene. He's just like, move like you got a purpose, and stuff like that. And...
I remember he had a role in like the very beginning of Halo 2, but I didn't remember if he was in the
he
first
brings you a tank.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I know what the ladies like, is what he says.
His one line in the whole game.
No.
The whole damn novel about this man.
They did. Contact Harvest is all about Sergeant Johnson. It's about the...
Oh, Johnson is very prominent in Halo 3, too,
Yeah.
though. Like, he's the main character.
And I mean, he shows up in Halo 1, like, every time you meet a group of Marines, he's there.
Yeah.
I always love putting him in the side position of the Warthog, and he just cuss at the Covenant as we drive by, and he'll drive by.
Those effing bastards.
So you read both of those books?
Yes, and First Strike has probably my favorite moment. Actually, no, it's in the next book, but it's set up in First Strike, which is really cool. An admiral named Whitecomb, who is a cool admiral. He's got a Texas drawl. He's cool.
You're telling me about Johnson and Whitecomb.
Yeah, that's his name, Whitecomb.
Yeah.
Calm.
Comb. C-O-M-B.
White Calm. Tanner.
Now you
Johnson and Whitecomb.
get your mind out of the gutter, you 3-year-old. Well, no, a 3-year-old wouldn't know. You 14-year-old. I think that's the age range for jokes like that.
I don't know
Anyway,
about that.
so what happens?
Okay, so the UNSC has developed a huge-ass bomb. It's basically 9 nukes encased in lithium. It's science stuff, and this lithium casing, and when it detonates, it boosts the thermonuclear 100-fold. This bomb can crack a planet. And the Covenant did not glass reach entirely. So he takes the bomb and manages to, with some Spartans, slip it into the Covenant supplies, and he hopes they'll take it back to their homeworld and it'll blow up. It doesn't go back to their homeworld, but it blows up a huge Covenant fleet, even bigger than the one Cole blew up, I'm pretty sure, at a Covenant world.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's really cool because he records a message on it, and he's like just saying, this is what this is. It's 9 warheads encased in lithium, like I said. Then he goes, it boosts thermonuclear yield 100-fold. I am Vice Admiral Danforth Whitecomb, personally, temporarily in command of the UNSC military base Reach. To the Covenant who may be listening, you have a few seconds to pray to your damned heathen gods. You all have a nice day in hell. And then it cuts off. And so that happens.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens with Whitecomb. He's one of my favorite characters. I do like Whitecomb.
So I guess that book, is there a lot of space warfare?
No, this is actually, there's only one real scene, and it's not from a UNSC ship. We actually see it only from Covenant ships this point onwards.
Okay.
There's a small bit of UNSC combat in Ghost of Onyx, because Eric Nyland writes that very well, and he likes to include that. But Ghost of Onyx is separate from Master Chief entirely. He does not show up in the book.
Okay.
The other members of Blue Team do, and this book kind of explains where Blue Team was during Halo 2 and where they were during Halo 3. This book primarily focuses on the Spartan 3 program, which is where we introduce a new Spartan who was kind of up there with John and Fred as the best leaders during the Spartan program when they were in training. His name is Kurt 051, and the book opens with him being kidnapped by another member of the Office of Naval Intelligence, the main rival of Dr. Halsey, so Colonel Ackerson, who we've seen before.
Right.
And he wants to create Spartans far cheaper. They don't get Milner armor. Their armor is it's semi-powered armor.
To put this in perspective, think of Halsey as Tony Stark and this guy as the hammer dude on Iron Man 2 who's trying to create those suits.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty
It's
much
like
it.
that.
Okay.
So yeah, these Spartans aren't meant to be like the Spartan 2s, to do anything and always survive. These are suicide soldiers. They're trained. They're orphans. They're war orphans. And
They're clones.
No. Flash clones actually don't survive past. They replaced the Spartan 2 candidates when they kidnapped them with flash clones, and they all died pretty soon after. Pretty dark stuff.
I was referring to the clones from Clone Wars.
Oh.
Made to die.
They're kind of. Depends on the Jedi
But
they
sir,
get.
we're made to be expendable. Not
Not to me. That's what Plo Koon, Plo Bro.
Gotta love Plo Bro. Then they shot him in the ass.
Yeah. So,
Die, Plo Bro.
they're war orphans, orphaned by the Covenant, and the agents of Oni come in and they ask them, hey, you want to get revenge? And they are like, yeah. So they're technically volunteers, but they don't really know what they're volunteering for. I remember the first class when they get to Onyx, which is this secret planet that's way out in the ends of human space, where they're going to be trained at. Their first objective, they load them all up in Pelicans, give them a parachute, and say, jump. And if you don't have the stones to do it, then you're not going to be in the program. We're going to kick you out. So they have 300 spots instead of like the 100, the 75 when the original Spartan 2 program. And their augmentations are also a lot less harmful. And so they're a lot more successful. So they get 300 Spartans out of this every time. So they make these soldiers and they send them on several missions, and then the whole company gets wiped out on Operation Prometheus, which was an attack on a Covenant world that was like a manufacturing place. And they're not expected to win the war. These soldiers, these Spartan 3s, are only meant to buy time. And we see, after we get into all this parts of Spartan 3 program, we get into more of the current events, which is during Halo 2, when Alpha Halo was blown up in Halo 1, it activated these Forerunner ruins on Onyx, where the Spartan 3s are trained. And that causes Kurt and a couple teams who are still on the world to compete for top honors, to have to fight Sentinels, and the Covenant show up looking for it, several parts of the Covenant, because the Great Schism, which is a Covenant Civil War, is happening at the same time. And it's really good. Kurt gets a certified moment of awesome at the end. I really like Kurt. He's probably my favorite character in this book, as Whitecom was in the last book. New character, that is. So yeah, I really...
But we never see him ever, just in this book?
Yeah.
Dang.
And you will like Kurt. He's good.
Kurt's the homie.
He is. Kurt's the homeboy Spartan.
So, the ones in Halo 4 and 5, those are Spartan 4s?
Yeah, and they're not children. They are recruited from every branch of the UNSC. They just pick the best of the best, mainly from the ODSTs, a lot of them.
Their
become Spartan
augmentations
4s.
are a lot less, right?
No, their augmentations are just as good, and they don't really have any harmful effects.
Oh, okay.
It just makes them bigger than normal humans, and they're able to wear Gen 2 Milner.
Right.
And their armor is a lot better, so that kind of helps, too. The augmentations I don't think are as good as Spartan 2 augmentations, but they don't have any of the risk, and the armor makes up for it.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
I thought they were like made a little bit weaker, but they had better armor
Yeah.
to make up for it.
So yeah, that's Ghost of Onyx and First Strike, which we will be reviewing in depth. Will probably be like an hour and a half for each book.
You could just cut the parts where you're talking about it in this video and then put them in the other video.
Yeah, we could.
We'll take those parts and put them there.
I know. How about we
Push it somewhere else.
it somewhere else?
What about you, Tanner?
So I read
Star
some more
Wars
of
comic?
Star Wars, The Rise of Kylo Ren.
Oh, yeah, you read that?
Yeah, I'm still reading that. They keep pushing these issues
What happened
out.
to those Jedi from the last ones? The one.
Nothing. They didn't show up again.
Oh.
Oh, maybe they did. It's been a while since I read this book.
That's okay. Take your time.
I'm sorry. It really
It's
has
okay,
been. I read
Rocky,
it
take
at
your time.
the start of January. I think I might have even read it over our little break we had there for a little bit. It was really good. I'm still really enjoying it. I like the backstory of Kylo Ren. I like kind of where they're going with it. Luke Skywalker kicks some mother effing ass in this book. He fights the Knights of Ren and they're gone. It's kind of the Luke I wanted to see in the Star Wars movies that we didn't get. One of the funny parts, though, which I'm going to show you guys, is we get to see Ren, who's the leader of the Knights of Ren, take his mask off. He's been wearing this mask the whole time, right? So he's trying to convince Kylo after they get beat.
Who were you before you put on the mask?
Yeah, after they get beaten, basically, by Luke. He's like, hey, kid, I can sense the darkness in you. If you ever need help or anything, or you ever want to learn more, come find us, basically, when they're leaving or whatever. But he takes his mask off, and I shit you not, this man is Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh my god.
He's Jeffrey Epstein.
Jeez.
This man, for the audio viewers, I'm showing a picture of Jeffrey Epstein, Kylo Ren, Knights of Ren, leader guy.
I think he may commit suicide.
We also got the guy from The Force Awakens, the old guy, and he's on the little journey with him. So that's cool. We get that callback.
Looks like the bodyguard from Johnny Quest.
Yeah, he kind of does, but he looked like that in Force Awakens too. So I like we're getting a little background for all these characters that were in the new trilogy of Star Wars movies. So I like having these characters fleshed out. It makes me like The Force Awakens and stuff like that more.
Cool.
So I really liked it. If you ever want to read a Star Wars book, this one's the most interesting one to me right now. I've heard a lot of good things about Dr. Aphra and stuff like that, but
yeah, that's with Vader.
I don't know. I like original trilogy stuff, but like
OT,
you can only do so much with that.
Yeah, I'm a Clone Wars boy,
in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, you can do a lot with the Clone Wars because there's so many different characters and there's such long periods of time between the movies that you can do a lot with the characters.
There's 3 years between two.
Original trilogy, you can kind of do similar things with, but it's just...
Yeah, I read a book. I talked about it. It was
just not as interesting.
It was about like the full-on when the Galactic Civil War kicked off.
Mm-hmm.
Like after the destruction of the Death Star, it talks about like the mid-rim retreats and stuff on the Rebel side. It was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy it. I like stuff like Riley's got the Timothy Zahn, Thrawn stuff. I think stuff like that's super interesting for the original trilogy.
Timeline.
Yeah, I know, but
it's in the back.
It is in the back.
Oh, that was in
the
back?
page. It's not like Revan.
Oh,
We've been tricked. We've been backstabbed, and we might possibly have been backstabbed.
I'm really interested in that period of time in the Star Wars universe just because it seems like the whole new trilogy took place in, a year?
Yeah.
Maybe?
So I'm really there was a year between Last Jedi and... So, yeah. It's like a year and a couple months.
You know what I want?
But not much time.
What do you want, Riley? I want the original episode 9.
I want some more Obi-Wan and Anakin, like... Before episode 2.
Yeah, between episode 1, like we see the Padawan and the Master. And,
if y'all watch the trailer for the new Clone Wars, it looks like we're getting some expansion into Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, they've done some...
I dig it.
There's some scenes from Revenge of the Sith, but we're seeing it from the points of view of different Jedi, like Awa Sakura and Plo Koon, because we see the Jedi Council convening, and Mace Windu is like, I sense a plot to destroy the Jedi, but he's a hologram in this point, see? Instead of in the original movie, he's actually there.
Mm-hmm. I dig it.
Yeah, I do too.
I like it. I'll keep reading Knights of Ren or Rise of Kylo Ren because I think it's cool. And I hope we get to see him get all evil and stuff.
How many issues is it? It's a miniseries, right?
8.
8?
Maybe 6.
Okay.
Yeah, not that many.
Is it Cullen Bunn or is it... Gosh, how many have you read? You don't know?
I do not. Here's what makes Russian Girls so special, though. I'm just kidding. There's a click here ad on my phone.
Oh.
So?
It's he's reading on one of those.
Oh, Charles Soule. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Luke was
He's
cool.
also good.
You could tell in this comic, though, you could really tell at certain scenes that they legit drew Luke from The Last Jedi. Like, they drew the scenes that he was in.
Yeah.
Like this one, where he's just kind of standing there. That's clear. Like, that's honestly, like, the exact same scene that was in Last Jedi. So, yeah.
Yeah.
See you around.
I know. It does. It does happen. So, can we please go in to the next topic?
Yeah.
Also, topic of the show.
Let's do it.
So, I want to know, do we want to do that first, or do we want to do 2020 in review?
I mean,
2019 in review.
Yeah, 2020
Let's
hasn't
just knock
happened.
this out. I don't think this will take long.
No, I don't think so. So, together we all are continuing to read
Spider-Man.
By J.J.
Yes.
Abrams. And
Father
his,
and son.
And his neglected son.
Yes.
We can only come to this conclusion by the content written down in this form of media.
Check out that booty, though.
It's a cry for help, really.
What that booty do?
We should call
What
the
that
police.
booty do. But, I want to know y'all's overall thoughts on it. Do you like it? Do you think the series is getting better? I know on I don't know if it was the previous Comics Cast, but the one before that, we were not fans of this series.
No, not really.
And I feel like they keep pushing this series out. Because correct me if I'm wrong, they should be on issue 4 now?
Mm-hmm.
They probably are, but I get mine a little bit late.
Oh,
because
okay.
I get them through the internet.
I'm pretty sure they're pushing them out.
Yeah,
they're coming out every month.
I think
I don't think so. I think they pushed it out.
So
I don't think so.
to answer your question, Tanner, I think it's getting better, but I'm still not really into it.
If you haven't been keeping up this far, basically, there's this big battle between Spider-Man and this I don't know, Deus Ex Machina looking thing.
Yeah.
The thing kills Mary Jane
In the first
and lots of other
page,
people,
yeah.
the Avengers.
I think the only one who survived was Tony Stark, unless they add someone else in.
Yeah. But Spider-Man beats it and survives. But he also had a kid with Mary Jane, so that's what the book is really about. The kid.
Kid's name is Ben.
Yeah, Ben Parker. So Spider-Man's reaction to Mary Jane dying is to go to the UK, I guess is where he went. He goes all over the world. He avoids his kid. Doesn't really raise him. Aunt May does that. I don't know how she's still alive, but she is.
Yeah, Peter's a war correspondent.
Yeah.
And he got wounded when all that happened. He has a hook hand. There was a picture of him. He's holding the camera and he's taking the picture with the hook.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's missing a hand.
Yeah.
But basically the kid has grown up without a mom, without a dad.
He's bitter. Understandable.
He really hates his dad because he couldn't save Mary Jane and all that stuff.
And because he never knew he was Spider-Man or anything.
Yeah.
Because, he just starts having all these powers and stuff, and he's just like, why didn't you tell me?
Yeah.
And he had, the only reason Peter is here in this issue is because last issue he put on a suit that Aunt May had and went and did superhero stuff. And Peter comes back and is like, Ben, you have to take it off. You need to listen to me. It'll destroy you. Just take it off. And Ben is just like, no, you can't tell me what to do.
He does the teenager thing and just yells.
He's like, you're never here. You've not raised me. You don't have any right to tell me to take it off.
So this conversation lasts for a couple minutes, and then all of a sudden the whole house blows up, and there's that machine thing standing there with three claws.
He looks like a chaos corrupted Adeptus Mechanicus dude from 40K.
3 claws plunged through Peter's chest,
Why you
which he
shaking
would
your
have
head,
died.
What the fuck?
That's what he looks like.
Wyatt's references that no one understands.
Exactly.
40K has a
Come
okay
on,
sized
man.
fan
Come on,
base.
man.
It does.
Come on, man. Come on.
It does.
Let it go.
No.
Let it go. Show him Peter getting shish kebabbed.
He got shish kebabbed.
Yeah.
There's them blowing up.
He should be dead. He should be dead. All right. But
Riley
because
really wants Peter
because
Parker
he's
dead.
superhuman, he survives this. And the guy puts him in a tank to keep him alive.
Yeah,
and
because
apparently Peter is the key to resurrecting all of these people in his pods.
his blood is some type of
Some type of way.
key because his
I was
dad
reminded of
made
radioactive semen in this story.
Ooh, no, it ain't that bad.
Uh,
I mean, this is bad, but it's not that bad. No. Nothing's that bad.
pretty bad. Pretty bad.
This doesn't make me want to just throw it in the garbage, though. I'm actually interested to see where they'll go.
Yeah. I actually liked Old Man Tony Stark in this.
Okay.
With his man bun
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
and his beard.
old man hipster.
I liked him.
Doing the rich man equivalent of living in a basement.
But the spoilers for the end of the comic, the story ends with these cadaverous versions of...
Isn't that the dude's name?
Yeah, cadavers.
Yeah, the cadaverous... It might be a girl. They hint at who it is. And it kind of does read like that it would
I think
be the
it's
girl.
Ivan, right?
Something like
Ivan
that.
was the other scientist.
Yeah, something like that.
So, and the other one died.
Yes. Or it could be Cadaverous. That's where I got it.
But I thought Cadaverous would be Ivan. Since
Either one. Maybe it's both.
I don't know.
This is JJ we're talking about.
Oh, they
here.
could be morphed together.
Yep. This is JJ we're talking about here. But the ending has the Avengers as Cadaverous people.
Yeah. Zombie Avengers.
Yeah, basically zombie Avengers.
All in the Avenger poses.
Yeah.
So Peter being the key to this thing working, they've already established in this book that Richard Parker was the one that helped to develop that.
With Tony's dad.
Yeah, that serum. So like that makes me think that they don't know any origin except what they saw in Amazing Spider-Man, the movie for Richard Parker.
Could be.
Because he wasn't a scientist.
I mean, this is a depressed Peter Parker, so just like Amazing Spider-Man.
Fair point.
Where's the skateboards?
This one isn't as cool. Anyways.
That's saying a lot.
It's getting better, but...
Jeez, man, you freaking killed her.
Yeah. How much better can it get is the real question. I think it's just okay. I got a meh for this issue.
Yeah.
Wyatt, what do you think?
Also a meh. I think that might be for the entire
Riley?
series.
I think
I
a
hope-
meh is the best we can ask for.
Yeah, and high hopes that it gets better somewhat,
Are
maybe.
there going to be 5 of these, or was it 6? I thought it was 5.
Oh, does it not say on the front?
Only 2
No,
there are.
It doesn't. I don't know.
Alright, so I guess we're...
At this
Three
point,
books-
At this point, I can't
3
really,
got pushed back 3 weeks, and 4 got pushed back 11 weeks.
Okay.
Darn.
I can't recommend this
Yeah.
right now. We'll just have to see where it goes.
We read it, so you don't have to.
Yeah, that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Alright, so now we're going to move into our main segment on the cast, which is 2019 in review.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
basically, guys, I want to know kind of what your favorite movie, TV, comic book was for the year.
Game.
Right.
You
So, what do you want to start with? You want to start with comic?
yeah. We can
That's
start
why
with
they're
comics.
here.
Yeah.
What is
They're
your
here for
favorite
the comics.
For me,
Go ahead.
Spider-Man Life Story.
Man,
Hell of a choice.
Yeah.
Hell of a choice.
Yeah, that was good.
It was fun, not just because it was really good, but we all read it together, and we did it on the cast. That was what we did before JJ came and took a dump on that segment.
It was a good dump.
Yeah.
We're 1-1 on
Yeah.
Spider-Man topics for this cast.
Yep. It was just really good. It was really cool seeing just go by in decades. The story was good, even though it was like a 10-year skip every issue. It still
if you
flowed
don't
very
know-
well.
If you don't know, it's like what if Spider-Man aged in real time from the time he was created in 1962. So that's like 6 decades right there. So each issue is a different decade, and it's like showing how he would age and how things would change, the
And
people
how
around him
you
would
deal with
change.
events that happened during the, like in the 60s.
Exactly.
He's wondering if he's going to go to Vietnam or not.
And he actually like grows up and
Yeah.
has different responsibilities and things. But this is a story we'll be talking about forever.
Mhm.
I think it's like pretty much a comic masterpiece.
I agree.
Yep.
I really
Is that
liked it.
all of us are picking Life Story?
Yeah, I mean,
know.
in all honesty, probably if we're narrowing it down to comics that we, read this year, or if it's just comics that came out this year, I definitely think Spider-Man Life Story is the best comic to come out this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think some would argue Immortal Hulk.
Immortal Hulk has been really
Immortal
good.
Hulk's been great. I think some people might even say Doom.
Yeah.
Doom is probably their favorite stuff they've read. I've
Maybe.
heard
I
great
mean,
things about Tom King's Batman. I
honestly
haven't
haven't
read
heard
it.
much about Doom. I'm the only one that I know of that's really into it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's impressive. Okay. For me, though, if we're not doing that, a book I read for the first time was
Okay.
Superman for All Seasons. Love that comic. That's a great Superman comic. It's the Spider-Man Blue.
We should
of
review
Superman
that.
comics. It's a great one. I loved it so much. It focuses more on Clark Kent, and I love when you focus on Clark Kent. I love when you try to humanize the alien that is Superman, because he's so relatable in a lot of ways, and the movie industry does not know how to serve Superman justice.
No.
If you watch our Superman in review, you'll discover that. Go watch it. We'll get more. I promise. One day. But really, Jeff Loeb does a fantastic job with this story, and I really liked Lana in this story and her relationship with Clark in Smallville. It's just an incredible story. I'm so on the art. It's different for me, at least. I like more realistic stuff, but it's fantastic. If you haven't ever read it, it did not come out this year, but it was my favorite comic that I read personally this year, even if it did come out this year.
Cool. Well, the whole thing didn't come out this year, but I was very grateful to see Doomsday Clock finally end this past year.
Yeah, it hadn't been going on for 3 years.
It started in 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, comic running for about 2 years. It had a pretty good ending. It didn't leave you wanting more or anything like that.
It was satisfying.
Yeah, it was. I think it did a great job of the real purpose. I think was to bridge the Watchmen universe with the DC universe, and they at first were going to try to say that Dr. Manhattan was the reason that the universe was kind of messed up from the New 52. You know how the New 52, the characters are different. They were made younger for new readers and stuff like that. They're trying to say that he's the reason for that. But they didn't end up really
Proving that.
going that way super hard.
They just kind of allude to it.
Yeah.
Don't spoil it for me, because I do want to read it.
Yeah.
Oh,
we're
I'm
all going
not.
to read it.
But they do establish this thing called the metaverse, which is how everything revolves around Superman. So, you know how he's the symbol of hope. Well, he's the reason that all of these things happen the way they do. And it's a great way of explaining how the 1930s Superman could be the same as today's Superman, because it's a metaverse. And I'll let you read it. I don't want to explain the whole thing, but it's a mind-blowing concept, and it's I don't think anyone else other than Jeff Johns could have even thought of something like this. It was really good.
Yeah, Jeff Johns is very good. When we were doing ChimiCrisis, my favorite was the 52 part of that, which was a lot of that was Jeff Johns.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm excited to read it.
So I had to look up movies of 2019 because I couldn't remember. They're really good. But for me, we're gonna get into movies now for 2019. What was our favorite movie of 2019? And I think there's one movie that stood out to me.
Was it Rise of Skywalker?
It was not Rise of Skywalker.
Shocker.
Believe it or not.
Shocker.
Believe it or not. And I think that movie.
I know what it is.
What was it, Raleigh?
It was the Joker.
It was not Joker.
Wow.
It was Endgame.
I'm surprised.
Endgame, I
Endgame.
think, was my favorite movie of the year. I think Joker would probably be number 2. Because it was a movie. Joker was a movie that stayed with me for days after I watched it.
See,
and I think,
Joker was my favorite.
yeah, Endgame did similar. I mean, there was a lot of good comedies this year too. I love Dolomite Is My Name. Dolomite Is My Name is really good. I really enjoyed that movie. It's
Mr.
on
Rogers.
Netflix. Oh yes, Mr. Rogers movie was fantastic
Yeah,
too.
it really
Just a
was.
really fantastic movie. Very heartwarming. But yeah, I think Endgame had that significance. I mean, granted, Endgame has the advantage of having 23 films build it up to be as good as it is, and they stuck the landing, which was an impossible task after Infinity War. Which I'm still in belief that Infinity War is a better movie than Endgame, but
Infinity War is my favorite MCU.
Infinity War is a better movie than Endgame, but Endgame still stuck the landing of 24 films, which is so impressive and something that will probably never, ever, ever,
I
ever
think
happen again.
With you saying that, I have to agree. the end game with all that build up and all that it had to do, that's very impressive. So I've probably got to say Endgame, probably my top movie for 2019.
What about you?
I enjoyed it a lot.
Is that your favorite movie of the year, though?
I don't know. I'd have to see a list because I don't remember what came out. But I really did like Endgame a lot.
It's so crazy looking back at the start of the year, looking at stuff that came out.
Yeah, you're like, that came out?
Shazam came out this year?
Right.
Midsummer?
I like Shazam. I like Shazam a lot.
Midsummer was the start of this year?
I wanted to see that Ford versus Ferrari. I never did.
I never got to see it either. I was like, Captain Marvel came out this year?
Which I liked more than most
I was
people.
like, you're kidding. It was honestly crazy that I saw this many movies.
Dark Phoenix was a good movie. It was good.
Yeah, for an X-Men movie. It wasn't as bad as people made it out to be.
It just had no marketing.
No, it wasn't even that. It wasn't a good movie, in all fairness. It was okay. But, I mean, it was just as bad as the other X-Men movies, in my opinion.
Okay.
But I love X-Men movies.
Oh, you know Riley disagrees when he goes, okay, after a chuckle.
No, I love X-Men movies. I love X-Men movies more than Riley does.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying, it wasn't that bad in comparison to, like, The Last Stand or something like that.
Yeah. It wasn't bad.
No.
It wasn't bad. It, Chapter 2 came out.
That was not a very good movie.
Okay, I disagree.
I
thought it was pretty good.
He's wrong.
Okay.
What was that? The Terminator movie came out.
Terminator movie was great.
Yeah, critics killed it.
It's a fucking great film. Real dumb, real good, though.
Critics hated it, but Tanner loved it.
It was the best movie since C2. Critics agreed with me. Just didn't make no money.
Detective Pikachu came out.
That was trash.
No, it wasn't.
Garbage.
No, it wasn't.
Junk.
Where are
Spam.
these opinions coming from?
Porn. Gary, get off of it. That's a reference. An inside
Literally
reference.
no one will get that.
I know. I said it was an inside reference. No, Detective
get
Pikachu. I'll tell the audience why Detective Pikachu is dumb. Spoilers for Detective Pikachu, but you've had a year to watch it, so tough luck. So Detective Pikachu.
Here we go.
My problem with Detective.
You want a soapbox?
My problem with Detective Pikachu is Detective Pikachu. The Pikachu, obviously, voiced by the great Ryan Reynolds. Forever may he reign as sexiest man alive, because he still is. But Ryan Reynolds is the voice of Pikachu. Now, this man is looking for his father. Little African-American boy, looking for his father. Right? Whole movie, looking for his father. He doesn't realize that the Pikachu's voice is Ryan Reynolds.
Does Ryan Reynolds exist in Pokemon world? What?
Yes, Ryan Reynolds is his father. The actor, Ryan Reynolds,
It literally is
his father.
Comes out
and yet the child does not realize that his father is Pikachu.
That's some minus points, yeah.
So, I mean, I get it if you have some generic voice, but your dad's voice is Ryan Reynolds.
It is a pretty well-known voice.
You would know
pretty unique.
that was your dad. And also, this Pikachu has a personality. He's Ryan Reynolds. You would know that was your father. But he didn't. So, yeah. Good Pokemon movie, though. Not a very good movie. Good Pokemon
I
movie.
liked all the different Pokemon that we got to see.
Like the big
The
turtles.
designs were really good.
Yeah, they were. They were really cute, too.
Yeah. I hated...
If you like Pokemon, you'd like
I don't know.
it.
I liked the boy being reunited with his father, but at the same time, I didn't want to see that Pikachu go. I liked Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu a lot.
Should have been his own thing.
It was funny.
I agree. But yeah. Riley. Endgame, your favorite movie of the year?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
Damn right it was.
What's next? Game
of the year.
Call of Duty.
That's all Riley's played.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't even know what video games that came out in 2019. I really liked Days Gone. Days Gone was a great game.
Which was the zombie PS4
The zombie PS4 exclusive. Yeah,
it was a huge open world.
It was good. Jedi Fallen Order was good.
Yeah.
Wouldn't put it great, but it was good. I like the lightsaber contact.
New, but
The lightsaber combat was super good. I think probably Call of Duty. Yeah,
You would say Call of Duty.
It was good. I missed that kind of Call of Duty.
I do too.
It was really fun.
I love the trash talk it being back. You guys don't play with the other people's voice. You mute everyone, but I play with it open. So when I play Search and Destroy, I had a dude say, "I'm gonna find your grandma and kill her in her sleep" or something like that.
Good God.
And it's just you don't get that anywhere else. I would say for multiplayer, yeah, for me it's Modern Warfare. But I mean, I played 2 very good single player games, that being Greedfall and The Outer Worlds, and I will look for well-written games as my chief thing to look out for, I guess.
Isn't it, Chief?
That was it, Chief. These games were it. Greedfall introduced a world splendidly. Had excellent world building. It was immersive. The quest writing was very good. The only thing hindering it was the low budget, which is the same thing for Outer Worlds, because Outer Worlds did the same thing. But I will say I like the writing of Outer Worlds better because they just know how to make a really good RPG, an action RPG, and how to put skill checks in dialogue. Because there would be like 13 different skill checks for one dialogue option. Well, one different dialogue frame. Like, depending on how your character gets through, you can use all your skills, pretty much.
Yeah, as far as game I played the most this year, it was definitely Call of Duty. Like Wyatt, I like single-player games, RPG elements, simulation. I love simulation games. I love tycoon games. And there was one game I played most of the year this year, and it came out 2 years ago. It might have came out last year, and that was Planet Coaster. I freaking love Planet Coaster. Oh my gosh, it's the Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, which is a game I was obsessed with when I was a teenager. I loved. And this is the HD equivalent of Roller Coaster Tycoon. And I can download other people's stuff, all the cool stuff they make, and I can make parks that I've always wanted. I'm making the Sony Pictures park. Yeah, you come in. Of course I am, right? So you come in, and it's got the classic Disney circle. And to the left, there's an Uncharted/adventure area. So it's got all the Sony classics, the Uncharted's, the Jumanjis.
Crash Bandicoot.
The Crash Bandicoots. And they're all over here in this adventure section. And then you split out to the right, it's my New York section. So we got the Spiderman, we got the Ghostbusters, which, by the way, Planet Coaster, you added a Ghostbusters DLC, and I love you for it. Because you can make dark rides where you control like a shooting gallery, like Toy Story.
Yeah.
But Ghostbusters.
It's amazing. Like the Universal Men in Black ride.
Yes, like Universal Men in Black ride, but it's Ghostbusters. And people...
Do you get slimed?
No, but there is Slimer, and there is slime that you can place around stuff. But one of my rides it's themed to Hollywood Tower of Terror, right?
Yeah.
So it goes up and down and stuff. It's themed to Ghostbusters, though. So you shoot up in the air, and at the top, it's Gozer and the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. You go down a floor, and you're in the Sedgwick Hotel, and it's got the kitchen and stuff. And they're flying the hallways and stuff. And then one floor opens up, and it's the park. Oh, my God, I love it so much.
If that ride existed, I don't like the Tower of Terror.
Yeah.
But if that ride existed,
you would ride it, right? And so my entrance is the Ghostbusters Fire Tower.
Yeah.
And then next to it is the Sedgwick Hotel. And that's where the ride actually is. But you can walk through the Ghostbusters fire team, and all the Ghostbusters are there.
The car.
Oh, it's awesome. And I also have a Slimer coaster next to it. And it's just Slimer. And then you ride it. It's like a kiddie ride. It's really cool. And then my most recent ride that I added to the New York section.
A boat ride through pink slime.
No, I wish.
Oh, man.
I wish. This is the New York section.
Slime.
This is the New York section. So I'm trying to come up with different things for it. So I have like a black Venom roller coaster that goes through. So no Spider-Man ride yet. I just put Venom. But I do have a James Bond ride, which is like a mechanical arm like Harry Potter. But it's like going through town and there's stuff exploding and stuff. Oh, It's cool. It's a cool ride. And then I have, on the other side, I have a Bad Boys ride. It doesn't really fit in the area because Bad Boys is obviously set in Miami. But I themed it really cool.
Every
So-
New Yorker viewer just turned it off.
No, it's Bad Boys for Life. That's what the coaster's called, and the movie. Even though it's the third movie and not the fourth one, they really messed that up.
Bad Boys 3 Life.
Yeah, right. Like, dude, Bad Boys 3, and then you do Bad Boys for Life, or Bad Boys Thrice. I don't know. I don't know what the good 3 one is. 3 for the money, 2 for
They'd
the
have
show.
to add a new character.
I don't know. But anyways, it was
So
Bad
there's 3
Boys
of
for
them.
Life, and there's like SWAT cars and like police helicopters set up around it. It's like it's honestly like Mystery Mine, where it's the 2 rows and it flies through. God, I love that game. It's a great game. I haven't went back to my park yet in a long time. I'm playing on career mode, so I actually have to make money and stuff to do things, and I have to market my park.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
As a business and management student, though.
Where are you located?
oh my God, I love
Like,
it.
do you actually
No,
get to pick?
you don't get to pick the
Okay.
location. I wish, but it's hard. I go into debt a lot.
Yeah.
Honestly, every time I build a roller coaster, it's like, okay, I've got to get 3 loans and hope to God I make enough money to pay it back. Because if I don't, I'm going to be in the red.
Tanner makes Pirates of the Pancreas, and it doesn't do well, so the bank takes his park.
There was one ride. So, like I said, it's 2 sections.
I was really betting on
So it
Pirates of
comes in, and it's adventure section, New York section. And then if you go forward, what I wanted to do was a Greece section, right? So it would be themed to God of War. And we'd have Greece and Clash of the Titans.
I thought you meant Grease like the musical. And
No.
I was like, a whole section to this?
As you can see, I
mean,
was
fair enough.
Does wasn't-
Tanner really like Grease? the
wasn't
musical?
thinking of how much money could be made here because the Grease section fucking bombed.
Oh.
It made no money. I don't know why. It had everything.
Did you have chariot racing?
No, it had the carousel. I had a carousel. I had a Greek pavilion of restaurants.
You should have had a guy teach
had a
people about the
hotel.
Peloponnesian Wars.
I had a
You had a
freaking-
hotel in the middle of the park?
Yeah, you can do that.
Dang.
Yeah, I had a hotel. The Ghostbusters has a restaurant area.
Yeah.
And then I had a hotel in the Greece section, and a bunch of restaurants, a bunch of shops, and then after that, there's a
Are you selling togas?
no, I'm
That
not selling
might
any
help.
clothing.
That might help.
Hey, you got to merchandise that crap.
I know I
I'll
do.
buy one.
I have like a hat shop and
Chill,
stuff.
young man.
But anyways, you gotta hire vendors, and they always quit because I never pay them enough. But
Well, there you go.
I know, right?
Well-
But this God of War section, the Greece section, I have a Poseidon ride. It didn't make any money. It was cool though. And then I had the God of War wooden roller coaster, and no one visited either of them.
Wow.
So I made no money.
Wow.
But I'm doing fine now. I broke even on. I mean, I'm operating at a profit right now because of the Bad Boys coaster.
Wow.
People love the Bad Boys. Bad Boys for life. But yeah, that's probably my favorite game of the year. I hope you enjoyed us talking about our 2019 in review. I think 2019 was a
didn't
hell
do
of a
TV.
year. Oh yeah, what do you want to do with TV? I'm just kidding. What was your favorite TV series this year? You're gonna say
The
Harley Quinn.
Mandalorian.
Mandalorian?
Yeah.
Both of y'all?
Probably.
Mine was You season 3. Or season 2. That was a great show. I binge watched the whole thing. I don't usually do that. It's a good show. Great show. If you haven't watched You, go watch You. It reminds me a lot of Dexter. Dexter's a great show, and You kind of does the same elements of that, except it's just a really creepy guy.
It's a sicko
Yeah.
It's a sicko. It's a
who
sicko.
kills people.
Yeah. I don't think I watched any other TV shows this year.
The Witcher.
I didn't watch it.
Gotta watch The Witcher.
It was good.
It's pretty good.
That's good.
It's pretty good.
I did.
Henry Cavill's
I finished Crisis
top
on Infinite Earths. It was okay.
Yeah, I haven't watched
It was
that.
pretty good. Pretty good.
Mandalorian was just so good though, because I mean it was Star Wars, it was a
All
western.
filmed indoors.
Yeah, they had those
Did y'all know
western
it was the
elements.
Unreal Engine?
Really?
Yeah, that was the Unreal Engine.
I didn't know
it was like a
that.
game engine, so when
That
they
is cool.
when they were on set, they could actually see everything around them. It wasn't like they were
That's
staring at a green
cool.
screen like us.
That's cool.
That is really cool.
Yeah, so they actually could see everything, and they were using a game engine, so you know how realistic it looks. You know, that's how they made Lion King.
Really?
Yeah,
Unreal Engine.
So this is how they're going to do movies now.
Yep.
welcome.
It was the same
to the
director too,
future.
John Favreau, for both of those.
Yeah.
So John Favreau did a good job on Mandalorian. I like that show a lot.
It blended
Show me
Star
the
Wars
baby.
and westerns, and just it was new. It was fresh. I'm so glad they didn't do just for the soundtrack. They didn't just repeat John Williams' Space Opera.
Exactly.
They did new
It had
stuff.
a cool theme song that you remember. Can we get it? We really do get it, I swear.
I want him to keep going. I want to see how long it lasts, right?
He's gonna do the whole thing.
I know, right?
He doesn't care.
It's impressive.
But we got possibly one of the greatest memes ever, Baby Yoda.
Yeah, it's true. He's a good one. He's a good Baby Yoda.
Yes.
Show me the baby. And then,
He force chokes a girl.
yeah.
He do.
Game of Thrones ended poorly. No one cares about Game of Thrones
Yeah.
anymore, which
No,
I enjoy
You don't
so
watch
much.
the show.
I know, but I enjoyed that so much that there was such this big fan base for Game of Thrones,
And then it just
it just fucking
You like that
ends,
millions
and
of people
no
were
one cares.
disappointed.
No one cares.
Tanner feeds off the dark energy.
No
really
one gives a
does.
shit about Game of Thrones.
Tanner,
It makes me sad.
Tanner's the ChimiComics troll.
I am. I really am. I don't give a shit either.
No one here watched that, did
No.
we? Okay.
I watched the final season.
You were lost, weren't you?
Nah.
He doesn't care. He just looked up the spoilers.
Yeah.
I was
online.
crushing on some girl, and she was like, "Do you watch Game of Thrones?" I was like, "I guess I do now."
As you do.
As you do, as is tradition. I don't know. I don't know if there was any other TV shows. I feel like there was. There's something nagging at me
Doom
that I feel
Patrol?
like Doom Patrol was good. It got really weird on the
Yeah.
last couple episodes.
Flex Mental.
Flex Mentallo was a great character. I don't know what you're talking about.
From what I know
Oh,
of him,
jeez.
based
Flex.
on our
Oh,
cast on
jeez.
the attractive
God, he was a
comic book
great guy.
character, you were like, Flex Mental, man. Flex orgasm.
He flexes it and you do stuff, such as orgasm. Incredible character, Flex Mentallo. Really good writing.
One of my favorites was Swamp Thing.
Ooh, another DC universe, and you really like Harley Quinn right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everything I've heard about DC universe, I used to have it. I don't have it anymore because I got the Disney Plus and got way too much subscription stuff going on right
You can
now.
only afford one.
I can only afford so much. I've got more than one. But DC universe is worth it. If you're a fan of
It really
DC
is,
Comics, if you are,
They delivered.
Yeah, they really delivered, and I'm hoping they keep it around with the network that they're making, the Warner Brothers network. I really hope they keep it around. Is Warner Brothers owned by NBC?
I
That
don't
can't be
think so. I
right.
know.
No, Warner Brothers is the HBO Max thing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
If NBC
Okay.
owned it, it would be
Well,
going down burning.
NBC is doing a network, but it's going to be free, so that's nice.
Makes sense.
Its subscription is going to be free unless you get the premium one. It's going to be like Hulu, basically.
Yeah.
You get a set amount of stuff, and then if you want the rest, you pay for it, basically like Hulu. So I'm excited for all these streaming networks. I feel like we're going to go back to TV.
It's going to
Right.
be the same thing.
Yeah, you have a choice now, though. Somewhat have a choice.
They haven't packaged them all together yet.
Right. So any announcements? Any announcements, boys, before we wrap up this episode? Any announcements for
Well,
the
hopefully
month of
we'll
February?
be doing Watchmen and Doomsday Clock review for you
For Reading
guys.
Tales?
Reading Tales.
Yeah. Right. Let's see here. February. I feel like we're gonna have we're gonna have content up almost every week.
Hopes. Yeah, that's the
Probably,
goal.
The goal is to have at least content up once a week.
We're-
Whether that be a read and tell,
gonna have-
ComicsCast is always going to be the last week of the month,
Yes.
so that's established.
We're going to have maybe 2 Superman episodes this month.
Maybe 2.
That's my goal.
Mayhaps.
At least 1.
God, I can't wait to Man of Steel.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Superman Returns was good. Okay, let's see here. Any other announcements? Me and Wyatt are filming the ChimiCultureCast
Yes.
right after this episode of ChimiComicsCast. So look forward to that on the channel. It's going to go up next week, followed by the next week being Darth Revan. You good with that? And then the next week, we'll have a read and tell / Superman in review. And the next week, we'll have another episode of the ChimiComicsCast. So a whole month of ChimiComics content. Maybe some content dropping 2 times a week. So it's going to be a great month for us. I hope y'all are enjoying the new shows, the new formats, all of that stuff, the green screen, all of that good stuff. And I hope you enjoyed this episode of the ChimiComicsCast, and we will see you next month in February. Have a good one, guys. Bye.
Catch you later.